Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, here today to another edition on the channel for NASCAR Thunder 2004. We are getting ready for this race here today. 500 laps around Martinsville Speedway for the Virginia 500. This is already the 10th race of the season, and we are getting set to go. Call 48, Tyler Burbeck. Welcome to the stream here in the early going. Yeah, I know, the audio and the screen wasn't working on the last stream. I saw it immediately. I don't know. I didn't even plug the audio in because I was trying to get the picture. And for some reason, the Elgato it didn't save onto the OBS, so I had to reconnect it. But we're all good to go. So here we go, here for today's race. Qualified on the pole. Greg Biffle did, at least for today's race, so this should be a lot of fun. We're going to hope we can get to the end of this one. It's going to be really tough, but we're going to do our best. There's probably going to be some good old-fashioned short track beating and banging here today. So we'll take you through the start of today's race.
Welcome once again to Martinsville, Virginia. MRN is proud to present live coverage of today's Martinsville 500. Barney, these pit crews will be busy all race long. Martinsville is known for great fender-to-fender racing.
Joe, I don't think there'll be a single car here at the end that doesn't have some damage, although oftentimes a guy who can manage to stay out of trouble all race long might get a ticket to victory lane for his effort. We'll see if that holds true when this one is all over.
Greg Biffle has put together a great season so far.
He just needs to keep digging like he has been. Sometimes when drivers reach the top 5 in points, they start to push themselves too hard on race day and wind up losing spots instead. I'm sure he doesn't want that.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. has got the short tracks figured out this year.
If you finish top 10 every week, then the championship becomes an attainable goal. This team wants to get the big money at the end of the year, so they're going to be working even harder to keep up this string of top finishes.
That car of Elliott Sadler sure is something else, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely one of the most interesting pace schemes in all of NASCAR. You certainly don't have any trouble picking him out on the racetrack, and that's what a sponsor is after.
We'll take you through today's starting lineup for the Virginia 500. A lot of interesting stories at the front of the field. First, starting on the pole for the third time this season, we've got Greg Biffle coming off the win in the Brickyard 400 in a fantastic fashion last night. Ricky Rudd, the points leader, will be starting outside pole in second. Row number 2, Rusty Wallace and Ryan Newman to the inside of him, so a couple Penske cars in row 2. Newman comes into this race second in points. Jeff Gordon has a win on the year. He's starting 5th. He's won here a couple times already at Martinsville. Michael Waltrip outside of him. Mark Martindale Jr. will make up row 4. Mark Martin's faded back quite a ways on the points. He's DNF'd in 3 of the last 5 races despite having a win early in the season. Matt Kenseth, Johnny Benson will be back in row number 5. In row number 6, we've got Tony Stewart, Dale Jarrett. Both of those drivers are in the hunt for the championship. Dale Jarrett 6th in points, Tony Stewart 11th. It's Tony Stewart starting 11th. He's 3rd in points. Bill Elliott, Ricky Craven back in row number 7. In row number 8, Daytona 500 winner Kevin Harvick and rookie Jamie McMurray outside of him. Jeremy Mayfield, Elliott Sadler will be starting back in row number 9 for today's race. And in row number 10, we've got 2000 champion Bobby Labonte outside of him. Road course ringer Robbie Gordon. Mike Skinner, Jimmy Johnson back in row number 11. Johnson came close to getting his first win of the season last night. Was up front in the top 5 most of the day. Kenny Wallace, Kevin LePage will be back in row number 12 for the start of today's race. In row number 13, we've got Ward Burton and Jeff Burton the second time this season. The Burton brothers have qualified in the same row. Back in row 14, we've got Jeff Green and Steve Park. Both drivers swapped rides from 2002 to 2003. almost like a trade-off in seats. Hermie Sadler, Sterling Marlin will make up row number 15 for today's race. Marlin's had some inconsistencies this season as well. Jack Sprague, Casey Mears, a couple rookies back in row 16. In row number 17, we've got Jerry Nadeau in the 01 and the former champion of the series and former winner at Martinsville, Terry Labonte, outside of him in 34th. Chase Montgomery, Ken Schrader will start in row number 18. And in row 19, we've got Christian Fittipaldi, Kurt Busch, a very good short track racer. Kurt Busch, just a very bad qualifying effort. Joe Nemechek and Kyle Petty will make up row number 20 towards the back for today's race. Brett Bodine, David Green will be in row 21. And last but not least, rounding out the field in the 22nd position will be Stanton Barrett, rookie. He was one of the tougher lap cars to pass in last night's race as well. So we are about to get started here. We've had a lot of bigger racetracks on the season. We go to the Winston Cup Series shortest track of the season today. Ethan, welcome to the stream as well. Denny Hamlin, Mark Truex Jr. are not in this game. No, they are not. Green flag in the air. We are underway. Turn 1, lap 1 already. A little bit of contact. Oh, Newman just moved Biffle into the wall nonetheless. There was contact to the outside. Ricky Rudd will lead lap 1. Ryan Newman ran right into the back of Greg Biffle on the first corner of the first lap, giving Ricky Rudd 5 bonus points. Great start for the points leader here today. Biffle trying to run Rudd back down. Biffle had the fastest car in practice as well as qualifying on the pole. He's got to try to figure out a way to get around Rudd. Jeez. That was one thing in practice. It seemed like the car was turning a little too easy on corner exit. Almost a little loose. But it's not loose. The rear tires aren't spinning. It's just like the car is just overturning. So definitely going to have to take care of the race car as we go forward today. Now, Greg Biffle did win the first short track race of the year at Bristol. That was a 500 lapper as well. Led the most laps in that race also. I think it'll be very likely that Biffle will be the driver to beat today as long as he is able to make himself last long enough to get towards the end of the race. Oliver Smith, welcome to the stream. Might be some rivals made after the end of the race today, let me tell you. If we DNF in the first half of this race today, we will run the Truck Series race. If we don't DNF, truck race for NASCAR Heat 5 would be the other live stream. Again, if we did DNF before the halfway mark, give you guys the full dose of content today if any of those scenarios happen. Really loose there, corner exit again, and Biffle got in the wall pretty hard. All that ground he was able to gain on Ricky Rudd. Ryan Newman quickly gaining right back on him again. Rudd's led the first 10 laps. Hasn't quite caught the lap traffic yet, but very soon he will. And we'll pretty much be dealing with lap traffic the rest of the race going forward. Lap traffic now for Ricky Rudd. A little contact with a couple lap cars at the back of the pack. It looked like Stanton Barrett and whoever he was trying to pass, who was on the outside of him, made a little bit of contact. You're going to be seeing contact throughout the course of the day, so I might not call it every time when there is contact. That's just kind of a norm around this racetrack, a little bump and run maneuver. You just got to hope these lap cars give the leaders enough room to race. Biffle's already kind of beating the fenders off of it in the early going. Definitely not a clean start for the 16 car. It's so hard to anticipate when exactly these guys are going to break. And the steering with the analog stick here with the PS2 also just does not cooperate very well on this racetrack. There's some racetracks in this game, it's just hard to keep the car straight down the straightaways. This is one of them. Ricky Rudd braking a little early. Next race in this season is the Pepsi 400 at Daytona. Oh, a little bump and run there. Ricky Rudd trying to get underneath of Casey Mears. Biffle takes it 3 wide into turn 3. Outbreaks Ricky Rudd to take the lead. Rudd all over the back bumper of Biffle. And Biffle beats him back to the gas. First lap led down for the Biff, and that will be 5 bonus points for him. Comes into this race 5th in the point standings after picking up his 5th win of the young season at Indianapolis Motor Speedway last night. Kyle Petty kind of crowded him that time. That wasn't really much of Biffle's fault. Oh, man. That was another pretty vicious hit. Another case of the car just turning just a little bit earlier than what Greg Biffle wants. Just kind of trying to drive away the lap traffic. This is a race. Biffle, if he can just survive to the end, will win. Significant contact now with Kevin LePage going into turn 1. Again, not trying to make contact with these guys on purpose. It is just a matter of trying to anticipate when the other drivers are going to brake. And how well the car might steer going into the corner, how much room they might give. And so far in the early going of the race, it has not been pretty. Yeah, there will be more NASCAR Heat 5 Career Mode episodes coming out in the near future as well. Just whenever I can get to it, really. Joshua White, welcome to the stream as well. Biffle trying to size up Christian Fittipaldi now, put him a lap down. Fittipaldi kind of blocking, Biffle just to the inside. Luckily with these slower cars, Biffle can get back to the throttle a lot sooner. The 16 car is fast. We saw that. Or I guess you guys didn't technically see that, but qualified on the pole, was fastest in practice. There is speed in this race car today. It's just going to be a matter of survival through the 500 laps. 3 wide and tight. Can't really do that here. Probably why there was some significant contact there between Nemechek and Biffle. Luckily, Biffle had a lot of allies coming into this race, but he's already made one rival of Kevin LePage. He's going to have to be careful when he gets to him next time. Surprised there wasn't any contact that time with Kenny Walsh, but look at these lap cars, just not giving Biffle a lot of room. We'll have to see if that'll be par for the course over the course of the day today, or if that's just because they're about to go their first lap down, they're just trying to hold on and maybe hope for a caution. If we're going to try to go for back-to-back wins here today for the second time this season. Two flat racetracks, but very different racetracks in their own making as well. Busch is struggling right now in the back of the pack. Yeah, quick take on Chase Elliott winning the championship. I've talked about it over the last couple days already. I should say between yesterday and... Yes, I didn't talk about it today, but doing the live stream yesterday and the actual post-race analysis video. Again, good for the sport. He definitely had the fastest car, I think, especially by the end of the race yesterday. And probably throughout the course of the race, it was just tough to tell when he was in traffic compared to, say, Logano when he was leading earlier. But at times, really all four drivers looked like they could have had the fastest car. "24 years of age, NASCAR Cup Series champion, already a three-time most popular driver. 11 career wins already. I think it could be a star in the making. Now, will it be like the next Jimmy Johnson as far as 7 championships? You know, only the future is going to hold that. And now we already have a caution for the first time today at lap 32. But I think you could very easily say that this could be another one of those drivers that could win a couple championships and 50-plus races. He's definitely on his way to doing that. So caution's out for debris as Greg Biffle's hood flies off already. First of what could probably be many cautions today. Only took 33 laps. We had 2 cautions in the race yesterday. One at lap 19, a vicious crash down the front straightaway, and then another caution came out at lap 114 for Ryan Newman blowing a right front tire. So Biffle's going to stay out of the pits here, keep the track position. Not worried about repairing damage here, though he does not have a hood. We'll have to see how that will end up working out. Lap cars to the inside, lead lap cars to the outside. Green flag back in the air again. Ricky Rudd to the middle, 3 wide. Not giving Biffle a lot of room there. Biffle, I don't think he was expecting Ricky Rudd to make that kind of a move, but Biffle's still kind of stuck on the outside, now gets to the bottom. Oh, and Kenny Wallace just drives it into the inside wall on entrance into the corner, and that's going to check up Ricky Rudd, Jeff Gordon a little further behind of the lead lap cars. Joe Nemechek, ooh, man. Little contact there again with Biffle. They made contact a few times. Biffle was trying to get the car to turn in the center of the corner, and once he made contact, he couldn't get off of him. But this does bunch the field back up again. Ricky Rudd to the inside of Nemechek, trying to run down Biffle once more. Oh, big bounce off the curb by Rudd. He lost a lot of ground. Jeff Gordon almost snuck under him, but the lap car of Nemechek, Gordon's teammate, in fact, was kind of in the way there, holding him up. One thing, though, with this being a short track is although you might see some cars ruffled up at the end of the race with significant damage, it'll hurt you down the straightaways, but this is such a slower racetrack with how small it is in length that it's going to take a lot of damage to really significantly slow your car down. Biffle trying to get around Mike Skinner now. Once he gets around him, he's got a little bit to Kurt Busch, who was able to get his lap back as well on the restart. Just kind of really got to skid your tires going into the corners here. It's hard not to lock the tires and get the car to turn in this game at this track. That time he was really able to get the car to roll right around Mike Skinner. Almost 50 laps in already. I do have the transmission on automatic, as I've had for every racetrack in this game. With this game, for whatever reason, it seems like when I shift, I've tried manual, not on the live streams, but I've tried manual at a couple different tracks, and it just doesn't seem to shift when you want it to shift. So with it going automatic here, that's why you see it downshifting to third, sometimes even second gear in the corners. I'm not sure why it does that. It's almost like it's delayed just a tad bit. It's kind of like that with the braking too, but I've kind of figured that out the more and more I race. Becoming more familiar with this game, but again, we're only 10 races in, so still nowhere close to halfway through the season. Yeah, Jimmy Johnson retired, Clint Boyer retired, Matt Kenseth retired. No more Germain Racing. Go Fast Racing is going to be part-time next year. Levine Family Racing's gone. But we'll have some new teams next year, too. And over the next couple of years, Jefferson Mark's team, 2311 Racing. It's going to be a lot of change. NASCAR is going to look very different next year. The 88 car is not going to be on the track. I mean, there's going to be a lot of things that will be missing. There's going to be a lot of new things. It's really almost, in my opinion, kind of like the transition to 2003 to 2004 all over again, between the transition from 2020 to 2022. I think that's what kind of comparisons you can kind of draw to NASCAR over the next couple of years and how it was back then as well. Lap cars seem to check up a lot more than even the lead lap cars, and that makes it really hard for Biffle to get on the brakes in time. Already at lap 50 here today, Biffle's led the most in the early going of the race, and Steve Park has got to be ticked right now, well, at least close to it. With Craig Biffle, who keeps running into the back of him. Biffle's not trying to do that and tell him to move, but there's just not enough room on this tight racetrack, and Park is now trying to block Biffle. Biffle trying to get underneath him, just can't do it. And Park is moving his way around a couple guys here. Stanton Barrett, Casey Mears now, he's trying to work himself around.
Keep an eye on your mirror. He's not too happy with you. You're clear. The 41 car is up high. Clear on both sides. The 30 car is trying to block. Right side.
Biffle's doing a lot better job compared to at the very beginning of the race and really even practice as well of getting the race car to turn a lot better on corner exit. Car could be tightening up over the long run as well. I did have to tighten it up from practice to qualifying to try and help that, and it did help a little bit. Jeff Gordon, by the way, jumped up to second place a couple laps ago. Ricky Rudd is sitting back in third, but at least Rudd was able to get some laps led at the beginning of the race. If he can have a good, consistent day, this could be good going forward. And Steve Park is making it very difficult for Greg Biffle to get around him. Not really sure of anybody who might have pitted under that first caution as well. Able to outbreak Steve Park, get around him. Working on his teammate Jeff Burton to try and put him a lap down. Oh boy. Biffle drove it in a lot deeper. Into turn one, that did not work out at all either. Tell you what, this car's going to be beaten and battered in victory lane here tonight if Biffle makes it. We had a fun race yesterday in the Brickyard 400 at Indianapolis. In my opinion, it was probably the second or third best race of the early going of the season. Very entertaining throughout, and I'm sure Martinsville could be the same today. Biffle trying to get around Kevin LePage quickly here, and he does. LePage, one of Biffle's bigger rivals now, already created in the early going of the race, so quick work there of Biffle. And he needs to get around those guys as quick as possible. So you know they're going to try to door check him on purpose, and he doesn't need that much damage going forward. Oliver, no, unfortunately I don't have any hole-in-ones. I actually did shoot a 73 again today, though. I had one of my better rounds of the year. I don't want to say I was slumping the last couple weeks, but I was shooting like 76 to 80-ish. I was coming, it was kind of a little bit of a fall from grace, not much, but I was for a while there like 71, which is my best round this year. I had once or twice. And I was like 71 to 74 consistently there for about 3 or 4 weeks, and then it just kind of fell off over the last couple weeks by about a few strokes around. Again, right around that 76 to 80 range, which is still good, but you know, compared to where it was, it felt like something was off, even though I was hitting the ball pretty much the same. But I was crushing my drives today, and yeah, I was able to get the 73. I just had a lot of greens in regulation today that helped me out. Slacking. I'd love to play some tournaments next year. I need to do that. I played a couple scrambles last season. I wasn't able to this year. I played by myself a lot more this year than what I really have leading up to it. Probably, you know, COVID and everything else going on just kind of screwed everything up, you know, with that. And I played in a league last year too, and I didn't this year. So I was really just trying to work on my game. But next year, maybe not going to play in a league, but I would hope to play in a couple tournaments, some more scrambles next year. That'd be a lot of fun for sure. I'd like to get into something like when I travel to a different racetrack, I'd like to go down like a day early and try to find like a Saturday tournament at a course I've never played or something. Like go down, play like a practice round the day before on like a Saturday. Or like a Friday, I mean, and then like Saturday do the tournament and then watch the cup race on Sunday would be pretty cool. Obviously, assuming my game doesn't drop off this winter. I'm going to work on the swing, though. I'm going to hit some indoor driving ranges this year. Make sure my swing stays because, I mean, I've been playing so much better this year than what I've ever played before. Oh, man, Biffle almost in the wall and had to kind of go up the track into Chase Montgomery. Otherwise, it would have been a more vicious hit into the wall and then kind of got pinched off by Ricky Craven, who was trying to make a move on Kyle Petty now. Biffle's got about a 3.3 second lead. Despite Biffle having 5 wins this season, he has not yet has not yet taken the points lead at all this season. It seems like the races he has won, he's led a decent amount of laps, if not the most. And he's been up front most of the day. Like yesterday, he led the 3rd most laps in the race. Michigan, I think he led the 2nd most laps. In every other race he's won, he has led the most. Constant flow of lap traffic here today. I would not be surprised if we do get a lot of debris cautions in today's race, whether it's off of Biffle's car or really just off of any of these damaged race cars over the course of the race. Oh, Kenny Wallace just crowded Biffle again there. Again, it's not all Biffle's fault either. Even when it is on accident, nothing's been intentional up to this point. And the same goes for the AI there of Kenny Wallace. I'm sure he thought he had more room underneath him, but Biffle was there. Car's still looking pretty good on the most part, or for the most part. It's been yellow for kind of a while on that indicator on the upper right-hand corner of the screen when it's not the track map. Definitely have to monitor that over the course of the race today. Not sure exactly how long the fuel window is. Drivers at Bristol, if you remember, the other half-mile racetrack on the circuit, they ran there in the Food City 500. It seemed like guys could go about 160 to 170 laps on fuel. I would have to imagine that would be close to about the same today, maybe a little more. But we are not sure exactly how the tire wear will be. A much flatter track than Bristol. Concrete corners, that will wear them out quite a bit as well. There's going to be a lot of stress on that right front tire today, so maybe not going to be able to go the full fuel run. We'll just have to wait and see. Everybody's at least 10 seconds off the lead outside of Jeff Gordon at second. Is trying to hang in there as much as he can. Have some significant contact with Bobby Labonte that time. If it gets under him off of turn 4. Also, though, if you do remember at Bristol earlier this season, Greg Biffle was able to make it on the same amount of pit stops as the leaders by pitting every 125 laps and short pitting, and that helped him get a large lead by the end of the race. There was only one caution that day, so it worked out. We've already had one caution in this race. I'd have to imagine we're going to get a lot more than what we might have had there. And LePage tried to take a swing there at Biffle. Contact up ahead as well. Steve Park got into whatever the lap car was ahead of him. Of all the races Greg Biffle has actually finished this season, not only has finished on the lead lap in every one of those races, but he has scored a top 5 in every one of those races. So really, it's just all about survival as much as anything else. When it comes to the 16 team, they've had fast cars for a large majority of these races, but again, those 3 DNFs this season are the reason why he's 5th in points. Mark Martin, who has 3 DNFs this year, only has 1 win and more inconsistency, and that's why he's outside the top 20 in the point standings. At a racetrack, you want to pit under green flag conditions as well, so we'll see. The handling seems to be a lot better than what Biffle had at Bristol as well. That was a large part of why he ended up pitting every 125 laps instead. It's because of the handling of the race car. But at this point in the run, again, not even to lap 125 yet, but to this point in the run and in the race, the handling of the race car is still there. So many drivers already one lap down in the first 100 laps of the race, even with that caution back at lap 32. Only 4 cars on the lead lap. Biffle has a 13-second lead. Newman tried to block off Biffle, and now he'll go a lap down. Again, this car's got speed, but it will be survival. It doesn't matter how big of a lead Biffle gets today if he can't make it to the end of the race. Can't have a shot at winning if you don't cross the checkered flag at the end of the day. But having this big of a lead, it might be a safe story if you were to, say, pit at lap 125 with a bigger lead and play the same strategy he played at Bristol just to make sure he doesn't damage the car too much. And he could pit to repair it maybe a little sooner than anybody else. Ricky Rudd going to go a lap down now. Almost a lap 100 already. Still another 400 to go after that. Biffle has led the most. Kevin LePage up here again. Not going to make it easy for Greg Biffle. Biffle looks to his inside. Got to outbrake him, and he's going to be able to get around him before Kevin LePage was able to take a swing. And actually, I think LePage got in the wall off of turn 2. Ward Burton trying to block the 16 of Biffle now. Maybe it wasn't a wise decision. Burton already 1 lap down, trying not to go 2 laps down. Oh man, that was a pretty hard contact there to the back of Ward Burton. Lap. Biffle's really got to take care of that car just a little bit more. He's trying to make it to lap 125, and then he'll bring it onto pit road for the first time here today. 18-second lead. That's a good corner exit. Jeff Gordon going to go a lap down. Biffle's put a lap on the field going into turn 3 this lap now at lap 102. How quickly he was able to do that and pull away. But green flag pit stops aren't that far away. Oh no! Huge crash! Biffle got loose down the back straightaway. Backs it into the inside wall. Jamie McMurray's involved. Caution's out for the second time. Oh my goodness, that happened so quick. Biffle, another one of those moments where the car just would not go straight on the straightaway. Very fortunate to keep it rolling because that was a hard hit on that right front that was already damaged from before. And Biffle's just going to decide to pit now and repair the damage. See if anybody else brings it to pit road this time. So the second caution of the race at lap 104. That was pretty ugly. Problem is, though, with pitting this early, Biffle's likely going to have to still make the same amount of stops as everybody else. So that was not ideal. Any way, shape, or form there. So with that caution happening, that actually gave Gordon and a couple other guys at least their laps back. Actually, a lot more their laps back. It looks like Biffle restarted 6th. Green flag is back in the air. Oh, big checked up. Biffle got to the inside really quickly. And, I mean, everybody's so slow. Double file mid-pack here. How much ground Biffle's gaining now. He does have fresh tires. Everybody stayed out to take the wave around. That's why so many drivers were able to get back on the lead lap. Biffle on fresher tires. A little more contact up ahead there. Bobby Labonte, Terry Labonte. And just look at all the ground Greg Biffle has gained on the restart. Still in 4th place. There were so many lap cars. Him being the only driver on pit road during the caution, but he's able to repair the damage. He's back out on the racetrack. Damage for the most part is pretty well fixed. As he gets around Matt Kenseth now for 3rd. I'm sure Jamie McMurray's not happy with Biffle after that accident. I don't blame him. Biffle just kind of lost control of the race car right up into him, but McMurray, not going to be an easy pass for Biffle as he moves up to 2nd, passing Dale Jr. Oh, he wanted to take a swing, but Biffle on those fresh tires is able to get around him. Problems on pit road. Somebody was up in smoke and may have blown an engine. Couldn't tell exactly who it was. Ryan Newman, who came into this race 2nd in points, just 23 back of Ricky Rudd, who has had the points lead for a couple races now. So Newman leads, getting some bonus points for leading a lap. Good decision by him to stay out. Greg Biffle trying to get around him. Newman leads that lap now, but Biffle's got the advantage. Bottom of the racetrack. Clears him off of turn 2. Newman lets him go. So it'll be a lead change at the start-finish line this time by and out to the lap traffic again at the back of the field. Oh, man.
Still beside you. Keep an eye on your rear. He's not too heavy. Clear. His bumper's going to get real wide next time. Number 2, number 5. CO2 car is still there.
Problem is the closing rate with Biffle on these 100-lap fresher tires is going to be pretty insane. And he's going to have an even harder time trying to keep it off of these guys with how much faster he's going to be rolling in the center of these corners and into the braking zone, and you've already seen that couple times here. Jeff Gordon, who's lost a couple spots. Trying to move Christian Fittipaldi out of the way. He's in danger of going a lap down again. Again, meaning he was a lap down before the caution. Got his lap back with the wave around. And again, that's a large reason I have to assume why these guys stayed out of the pits was to take the wave around and get back on the lead lap. It will work for those who are able to get a caution. They can't get a caution, though. It's not really going to do much for them. They're going to have to pit at some point in time. Probably, again, right around lap 160 to 170, if I'd have to imagine. If it's like Bristol, these guys will pit at about lap 160 to 170. Maybe they can stretch it a little bit further. Bill Elliott not giving Biffle any room there. Biffle again, just using fresh tires. That's why you see him just blowing around cars. Corner after corner, lap after lap. Got stuck on Jeremy Mayfield. Lap car's not giving him a lot of room though either. Kurt Busch was trying to make a pass there on Mark Martin. Biffle was right there for the taking. Oh, no problems, Kurt Busch. Busch is up in smoke now all of a sudden after Greg Biffle had got around him to put him another lap down. That's the second driver now to blow an engine today. Biffle just able to get by McMurray. Oh, man. Still 4 cars on the lead lap here at Martinsville, lap 130 if you're just picking things up. Greg Biffle's led the most laps up to this point. On fresher tires than the rest of the field, only driver on the lead lap that pitted under that last caution, mainly due to the fact he was the only driver on the lead lap going to that yellow flag. A lot of drivers took the wave around, tried to think short term and maybe hope for a caution, and then I would have to assume likely pit under the following caution. No contact that time. Biffle tried to get around Dale Jr. there and put him a lap down. Jr. gives him more room there through turns 1 and 2. Biffle gets around him easily. And there's Ryan Newman in second place now, right ahead of Greg Biffle. And And we're right, oh man, barely slid up in front of him.
Take care of that car.
Contact involved as well. Everybody back a lap down again, just like we were before the yellow. That did not work out for anybody that took the wave around. So we're right back to square one. Square two, I should say. Square one, I guess, would be the start of the race where everybody's on the lead lap. But oh man. Contact in this game is, it just feels more significant than what it does in NASCAR Heat 5. Makes me brace for impact every time. And already that right front is quickly worn out again. Not the tire, that is, but the fender. It's going to be the case all night for Greg Biffle if he keeps racing the way he has up to this point.
We don't want him getting beside us. You don't want Carl. He's outside. Hold your line. He's still there. 3 wide. You usually see him black here, but I guess you guys are friendly out there. All clear, buddy. All outside.
Again, this race is not over. Not only Biffle has to survive to the end of the race, that right front's pretty banged up already. You can very well see this 16 car make a lot more pit stops than everybody else today to try and make sure that he keeps the car in one piece to make it to the finish. That is going to be the smartest way to do it. He's got the fastest car in the field. He's got fresher tires right now as well, which is helping things out. David Green is pretty upset here with Biffle. This could be a tough pass. We'll try to slide under him, and he did. Clears him. Look at how much damage is on the 16 car again. If Biffle could just last long enough to where everybody else has to hit pit road in the next 20 to 30 laps likely, he could maybe pit with them and just hold everybody where they were one lap down. They'd be on equal tires. He wouldn't lose ground under green flag conditions once they pit. And he would be able to repair the right front of the race car and get it right back to where he needs to be on the racetrack. So it's just going to keep getting banged up all day. The way things have gone up to this point. Oh man! Another big hit. That time was on the left side. You can see the deck lid now starting to flap in the wind. A little bit more at least. Might get our third caution for debris sometime soon. Figure this is going to be a sloppier race today, but sloppy sometimes the norm here at Martinsville. And again, it all just boils down to that decision that everybody took to not pit under the last caution.
Number 4 is trying to block. The 40 car is still there.
Mike Skinner. Biffle came into this race with no rivals. I think he's got 3 or 4 of them already. Again, Greg Biffle just has a 1-lap lead on the field. And there's a caution for debris. His hood has just come off. Second time today. Trying to put Ken's at 2 laps down at the line there. It averages out for some reason. Once somebody goes over a half a lap down, I don't know why it does that. So again, Biffle has a 1-lap lead on second place. Caution for debris, that's the 3rd caution of the day. At least he can pit and repair the damage, and we'll see if anybody comes to pit road this time. If not, I mean, they're going to have to pit about 15 to 20, 25 laps at the most, it seems like. So, 3rd caution of the day. And they're going to stay out again, it looks like. Take the wave around, try to do it all over again. I am not sure why they keep doing that. So some drivers will get back on the lead lap with this. There were 3 drivers that were 1 lap down that will get back on the lead lap again. I believe it was Ryan Newman, Jeff Gordon, and Ricky Rudd, if I'm not mistaken.
We're starting in the back, so be careful and stay out of trouble.
Lap cars to the inside, lead lap cars on the outside. So, see Ryan Newman back on the lead lap, it looks like here. So he's back on the lead lap, but he is just in front of the race leader, who has pressured tires now, as Biffle quickly cuts down to the bottom of the track.
Number 24 is outside.
It's just not a wise decision here.
Number 12 is inside.
Biffle all over the back of Ryan Newman. He put him a lap down immediately again. Now he's got about 150 lap pressure tires. I just don't understand why they've stayed out. And they're going to have to pit pretty soon, too. Didn't work the first time. I don't think it's going to work the second time. Yeah, there's a good chance we're going to be pitting after every yellow today. We didn't pit under the first caution. That was only 30 laps into the race. But the other 2 after that, Biffle has hit pit road. You don't want to pit under green here. That's another reason that mind boggles me why nobody else is trying to come to pit road today. Just helping Biffle maybe get to the most laps led a little bit quicker as well. Maybe secure another 5 bonus points just in case things go bad later in the race. Oh, Skinner with a big hit. And now Kenny Wallace, Skinner again. It's just lining up, and this is only going to get harder. We're not even halfway through the race. And not only for this race, this could make things even uglier at Daytona for the Pepsi 400, which is the next race of the season. Oh man, Tony Stewart got hooked around that time. Kind of came down as Biffle was coming into the corner so deep. And again, the right front is just banged up on the 16 of Biffle. We're probably going to have a record for cautions. The most cautions we've had in a race this year was at Michigan on the fourth race of the season, rather. And in that race, we had 8 cautions. We've already had 3. We're not even halfway home yet. If we get more cautions, it just gives Biffle and a lot of these guys more opportunities to pit. For those of you that have watched the channel before and are familiar with these full race live streams in particular, you guys know that I race really clean a large majority of the time. And I'm really trying my best right now. But this game is so hard to keep the car straight, and the AI races you so difficultly that when you come to tight racetracks like this, it just makes it a hell of a lot harder. Something I've noticed too, Bristol was not like this, and I think it's because it was a little bit easier of a track to drive. Again, the higher bank tracks seem to be a little more easier to drive in this game. And I was really making contact that much at Bristol compared to here at Martinsville today. David Green is trying to run Biffle up the racetrack there. Biffle able to get around Jack Sprague. Now the left front and the right front is severely damaged on the 16. We've had a couple cars pit over the last couple laps as well. Oh, Skinner! Almost wiped himself out trying to wipe out Greg Biffle. That was a close call. Kenny Wallace might try to take a swing now. He did, but luckily Biffle was able to drive on by. Surviving the other cars is the main thing here for Biffle. The rivals get worse and worse over the course of the race. Can make for a long day for the 16, even with leading the majority of the day.
42 car, now loose. Still there. Right side. Number 42 is trying to lock. The 88 car is inside. We don't want him getting beside us. You're clear. The 2 car is outside.
Concentration has to be at full focus around a track like this in a race like this where you're taking literally 1,000 turns throughout the course of the day in this 500 lap event. How much longer can these guys go on fuel? We've had 3 cautions. They were able to save a little bit of fuel under the yellows, but we are 180 laps in. And Biffle's the only one. Well, there's been a couple lap cars that make their scheduled pit stop. Oh, LePage just got into Biffle. Biffle's in the wall. And then he got hit there by Rudd and Sadler. Caution for the 4th time today. Kevin LePage turns Biffle around going into turn 3. A couple hard licks in there from Sadler and Rudd that could have definitely ended Biffle's day. Both hits were right to that right front that needs repaired. And now we'll see if we get cars to hit pit road under the 4th yellow of the race. We know the race leader is coming into the pits. And Newman's coming to pit road. Still got some guys staying out. It's going to be a slow stop here for the 16 team. If Newman wins the race off pit road, he actually gets one of those laps back still. And he should, because Biffle's going to take a long time in the pits here. Yeah, a lot of cars beating Greg Biffle off of pit road. So trying to just... Oh, man, more contact there with Ryan Newman. Oh, no. Oh! What is going on? Oh, my gosh. We had about 3 cars wreck on pit road. This is not good. Are we gonna... Come on. Oh, man. Okay, Johnny. Oh my God! Oh no! What just happened? Oh my goodness! Oh, well, we're about to go green. Back to the realistic broadcast. Severe damage on pit road. Green flag back in the air. Oh man, Biffle trying to keep the car straight again. Oh, and he gets hooked by his teammate, Matt Kenseth. And that just stalled out the field back behind him again. What has this race become here today? Things are kind of single filed out, maybe a little bit better now. A couple laps after the restart. Greg Biffle still leads, and by a wide margin. I have not seen that in this game on anybody else's gameplay before. I was scared we weren't going to get back to normal there. I was scared I might have had to restart the race, and I mean, I don't know what I would have done at that point. We made it through. I cannot believe we saw 2 cars get airborne on pit road. Junior got airborne. Johnny Benson completely just flipped over. That gave a lot of damage to the back of the 16 of Greg Biffle there with those couple pit road incidents.
He's being nice and giving you some room to race.
My R2 button's stuck now, so I can't even share draft. That's not good.
You get a little more cushion than usual.
I'm trying to get it unstuck, but I can't. It's kind of hard while trying to drive straight, too. So, again, not everybody hit pit road. A lot of these lap cars are just now coming into the pits.
He's got some revenge.
That stayed out to try and get a lap back and hope for another quick yellow.
Number 17 is still there.
That's making things a little interesting again.
Clear.
4 cautions in this race up to this point. Andrew Hollenbach, welcome to the stream.
It's up high. You're clear.
Well, this game's brought a couple of crazy moments already this season. That was definitely up there at the top of the list of what just happened on pit road during the caution about 10 laps ago. Ryan Newman's got pressure behind him from Dale Jr. Jr. gets to his inside. Kind of crowds Newman up the racetrack there. Not battling for position, though. Biffle trying to work his way a lot closer to these guys now. Yeah, I might need another PS2 controller because I cannot get this R2 button unstuck.
The 12 car is going to make it hard for you to get around it.
Luckily, we don't need much of a share draft here, Martinsville, but our next race is Daytona, and that we definitely need the share draft for.
Number 12 is on the block on you.
Ryan Newman pretty upset here with Biffle. It's going to be a tough pass. Biffle trying to cross him over, perhaps. Oh, kind of rubbed the inside wall. That stalled the momentum out. Almost to lap 200 here today. So a lot of action still to go at Martinsville.
Number 17 is right behind you.
We might see some here as Biffle tries to put Newman another lap down.
12 is down low.
Looking high. Newman runs him up the track. Biffle just trying to cross him back over. He can't get underneath him. Newman is trying to make him pass him high. But he ran him up the track, though. Last time he tried to get to his outside and actually got there. Biffle kind of undercuts the exit of turn 2 and gets into the wall. This has been a crazy event up to this point. And I don't think the craziness is done yet.
The 12 car is trying to block. All clear, buddy. Got one outside. Clear all around. Number 12 is trying to block you. Keep an eye on your rear.
Might have been some contact between Ryan Newman and Hermie Sadler. Newman's actually kind of pulling away from Greg Biffle for now. We'll see if Biffle actually can be able to run him back down again. And now David Green's going to be a tough out. He's another one of the bigger rivals here with Biffle. As Biffle looks to his inside. He's going to get around him quickly. That'll help. Closes in on Ryan Newman a little bit more.
The 12 car is putting a block on you.
Biffle starts high, tries to run low. Newman thought about taking the swing, but he just beat him back to the gas anyway. Again, Biffle to the inside. Newman left it open. Newman tags him just a little bit there. Maybe stuck behind Kevin LePage. LePage takes a swing again. Remember, he turned Biffle earlier. That brought out the 4th caution of the race. Dale Jr. is ahead of Ryan Newman. I guess that was a pass for position when Newman got passed by Dale Jr. earlier. You could see Jr. a little bit further up ahead. Did not realize that was for position at the time, but it was. Biffle right back to the back bumper of the 8 of Dale Jr. Jr. gonna race him hard. Oh, Biffle just gets into the back of him. Not gonna make it that easy. Kind of crowding him there. Kenny Wallace trying to tag Biffle. Remember, those two were rivals back at Texas this season when Kenny Wallace got what was the biggest accident of the year up to this point, the 3rd race of the season. And they are rivals once again, unfortunately. Rivalry renewed between Kenny Wallace and Greg Biffle, it looks like. Wallace tried to squeeze Biffle into the wall on lap 3 of that race, and what caused that major accident. Mike Skinner got the wall off of turn 2 that time. We're almost halfway home. And caution for debris again. That is the 3rd time we have seen the hood of Greg Biffle's car come off. So they'll race back to the caution flag. Skinner trying to rough up Biffle, trying to stay on his current lap. Biffle able to hold him off. 5th caution of the day before the halfway mark. 3rd time we've seen debris off of Biffle's car as well. We know Biffle's going to hit pit road. We'll see if maybe anybody else will try to come down. If not, they'll get the wave around. Now, there isn't that many laps on these guys' tires, so I can understand if they were to stay out this time around. Again, they only got about 30 to 40 laps on their tires. BMNJ, welcome to the stream. So 4 fresh tires on the 16. Once again, an advantage for the fastest car and the leader in this race. No, there's no tire limit for me in this game. It's so easy to DNF. I don't have a tire limit nor a 5-second damage limit. Look at Newman. He didn't make contact with Biffle, but he tried to run him up the track. The lap cars to the inside. They still have decent speed. Only 30 to 40 laps on their tires. Biffle does have fresher tires. Just trying to hang on the outside, trying to get back to the bottom, and he does in front of Kenseth. To the inside of Ricky Rudd, a little contact. Rub and run that time. Now Ryan Newman tried to rough up Biffle early. Oh, man, a little tag there. Newman is crowding him. And Biffle just turns him down the front straightaway. And Biffle turns himself in the process into turn 1 as tempers are flaring at Martinsville. And Newman just piled it right back into Biffle right after the caution came out. That did not look very pretty. No need to pit under this caution when Biffle just pitted a couple laps ago. And you see the point standings as they run. Ricky Rudd still the points leader as we run green flag back in the air again. And Dale Jr. is actually back on the lead lap all of a sudden. And Newman again up into Biffle. Biffle going to try to outbrake him here into turn 3. Newman again trying to turn Biffle. Biffle gets by him that time. Trying to put Dale Jr. 1 lap down. And again, Biffle just kind of overruns the exit of the corner. Hang on to that race car down the back straightaway. Newman closes back in again. Matt Kenseth's going to get underneath the 12 car all of a sudden now. Right front's actually a lot more damaged all of a sudden than what Greg Biffle probably anticipated. Big wheel hop there by Junior getting into turn 3 as he's trying to outbrake Biffle and stay on the lead lap. Junior can get another caution. Oh, Biffle overruns the exit to the corner again. Almost halfway home. Cautions have really slowed this race pace down quite a bit as well. We were going pretty good there for a little bit. Still not even halfway in 6 yellows. And look at Junior trying to block Greg Biffle. Oh, Biffle almost got in the wall. I don't know how he saved it there. Car just turned right back up the track again. Remember, no free pass back in the season of 2003 if you are the first driver 1 lap down. You have to earn your lap back the old-fashioned way and just flat out try to pass the leader. Obviously, the wave around's still there because if you choose not to pit under caution, you can obviously get your lap back if you were behind the leader and you were a lap down. That's just always been in racing. But you can't pit the following lap either, though, to try and keep it. You have to stay out the entire time. So Dale Jr. 1 lap down again. Greg Biffle got back around him. And we're about to get to the heavier lap traffic now. In the first lap car, slower one will be David Green that Greg Biffle will have to catch and pass. And the right front already beaten and battered. Not sure what to make of this. Oh, Biffle just kind of tagged that 37 car again there. Biffle drives on. Green tried not to make it easy. Jack Sprague pretty upset as well. Oh, faked. Faked a hit on Biffle that time. Biffle trying to take care of the right front. A little contact with Hermie Sandler getting into turn 1. Couple more rivals here. Mike Skinner, Kevin LePage, Kenny Walsh. I don't think Ken Schrader's that upset with Greg Biffle. Biffle's just going to have to try and take it at this point. Needs this thing to play out green as long as possible. It's Mike Skinner now. Oh! And more debris. Fourth debris caution of the day. Seventh caution of the race. We're almost halfway. Biffle keeps putting the hood back on and just for it to fall off every single time. Four cautions already. Or sorry, well, 4 debris cautions already. 7 cautions total. And he's going to have to repair the right front a little bit more. I think we're going to set a record for cautions here today. This has been insane all of a sudden. We only had 1 caution in the first 100 laps of the race to have 6 in the next 150 laps. Second most cautions already this season, behind Michigan, which we had 8 that day. And again, we're not even halfway home. Well, if you're new to the channel, subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. We do these full race live streams with a realistic broadcast on the daily. We had some wild moments already in this race. Starting my broadcasting career here with this YouTube channel. So help me out so I can hopefully one day live the dream of broadcasting real races for NASCAR. So here we go. Biffle coming out of the pits. A lot of drivers taking the wave around. This is going to get Dale Jr. his lap back.
Nobody else decided to come in.
And he'll restart right in front of Greg Biffle, and so will Ryan Newman. Green flag back in the air. Here we go again. Biffle was anticipating a brake check going into turn 1. Ryan Newman back on the lead lap as well. Biffle wants to get back down to the bottom. Not going to be able to there. Oh, 3 wide up the middle. Dale Jr. checked up. Ward Burton was still on the bottom. Jr. lap down all of a sudden. Ricky Run takes a swing and tries to turn Biffle. Biffle just trying to drive on. Trying to survive. Oh, big hit there on Newman. Trying to move him right back out of the way again. And Declan's about ready to come off of the 16 as well. Right when the damage gets repaired, it just gets beat back up again by the rivals that keep lining up right in front of Biffle. And they're going to keep lining up in front of him the more he has to come down to pit road to repair the damage under cautions. This is an insane race up to this point. I mean, it's something that we figured we could have the capability of a race like this season, or even today, for instance, knowing this was the first trip to Martinsville this year. But I don't think anybody expected this many cautions this early in the race, especially on a channel where you typically see a lot of clean racing by me. I just can't keep the car off of other cars. Like, I'm trying my best, but they brake so much earlier than I do, and I'm so much faster than them when I'm on fresher tires. And they get upset in this game, obviously, a lot easier than other games in the NASCAR realm. And the combination of those couple things, obviously, not making it pretty for Greg Biffle today. But he has survived almost halfway through the race, despite all the carnage. Couple laps and we'll hit the cross flags halfway mark in today's race. You know the term in NASCAR and the saying that cautions breed cautions, and I think that is exactly what we have seen today. Had a long run After the first yellow, went about 70, 80 laps without a caution, and I don't think we've gone another 30 or 40 without another yellow since. It's David Green again. Biffle gets around him pretty easily. Green decided not to take a swing that time. Chase Montgomery tried to send it into turn one. Oh, spray! Tried to chop Biffle off. Cross flags, we're halfway at Martinsville. 250 laps down, still 250 to go. Trying to beat Skinner back to the gas, he did. If I'm going to try to pass these rivals around the outside because that right side of his race car is a little too beaten and battered for him to pass him on the inside. Well, he crossed over Kevin LePage that time. He'll try to go 3 wide underneath Casey Mears to keep out of Ken Schrader's way. Got Kenny Wallace now just up in front. Favorite NASCAR games are 09 and 11. Yeah, I never played NASCAR Inside Line, if that's what you're talking about, or NASCAR 11. And I did play a little bit of 09, but not much. I actually think my dad probably played that game more than I did. 08 and 09 for that matter. Well, there's more debris. And that now ties the record for the most cautions that we have had in a race this season. 8. Blew off, and then he couldn't get on the brakes in time to keep it off of Johnny Benson. And he keeps the car rolling. No tire rub. Biffle's going to pit under the caution, repair all that damage. The right side is really beaten and battered right now. Not sure exactly how long he was going to be able to go. The debris caution might have bailed him out. But now we're going to see drivers taking the wave around again. And more cars will get back on the lead lap. And that's just been the story of the day as we have approached the halfway mark. And now just beyond the halfway point at Martinsville. The caution's starting to slow this race down and get these guys back into it. Biffle has to come to pit road every time. Might as well take tires while he's down repairing the damage, as he just tries to survive to the end of this race.
Looks like we were the only car on pit road during that entire caution.
Just like the last restart, Dale Jr., Ryan Newman will restart right in front of Biffle. And green flag back in the air. Problem is with those lap cars on the inside, Biffle obviously on the lead lap has to restart on the outside every time. Trying to get in between. Oh man, Ryan Newman, Ward Burton. Just getting sandwiched between the two. Ward Burton just the innocent bystander. Now Burton pulls up right in front of Newman. That allows Biffle to get around. Ricky Rudd thought about trying to turn Greg Biffle. Biffle just trying to get out of this mess every restart. And that right front again, pretty beat up. 260 laps complete, 240 still to go. That's the quickest he was able to get through those guys. He's got fresher tires, so that obviously helps. A little bit of clean air for about the next probably half a dozen to a dozen laps. Hit his marks, run it clean. By the way, that debris caution for Biffle was the right front fender kind of falling off of the race car there, and not the hood. The hood brought out the first 4 debris caution off the 16, and the 5th one was the right front fender. And 3 cautions for a spin today as well. Jackson Pittner, welcome to the stream. I don't know why it keeps doing that with the thumbnail. I need to figure that out and get to the bottom of it. I don't know why it shows the Brickyard. It was showing Bristol for like 3 straight races. And now it's showing Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So I don't know why it's showing those thumbnails of older videos on the current. I'll just go back and change it when I go to update it after the race today for Martinsville. I'll try to make sure I get to the bottom of that before tomorrow's stream. Yeah, that's good. I mean, it forces you to race clean in those games. Kind of like this game with the rival system. That's what I like about it. I pride myself on clean racing, so it makes it a lot more fun, but it could also obviously be a kind of a rough go. If you have as many rivals as what has been created in this race with how rough it is and how hard it is to pass cars cleanly here. And in a race in which you are competitive, in a season in which you are competitive like Biffle is, 5th in the point standings coming into today, a win would go a long way. And he's got a lot of drivers in the top portion of the field right now. Kenny Wall's about to turn Biffle there in the center of the corner. Got really sideways after the contact. This might not be the most entertaining race by my standards with how the beating and banging and everything has just gone today. It's a little too much by my likings. But it's probably been the craziest race up to this point. We still got over 200 laps to go. So if you're watching this, have not hit the like button down below. And again, hit the subscribe button, most importantly, for more daily NASCAR content. Through the offseason, we will still continue these full race live streams with a realistic broadcast, because although the NASCAR season is done, the goal of one day becoming a real commentator within the NASCAR realms is not. And that is, again, why I started the channel. So, Michael Waltrip trying to block all of a sudden. Contact even with Biffle. Jimmy Johnson was aggressive in the blocking at the Brickyard, and he took a very, very low entry into turn 1 under Johnny Benson. I don't know if he made contact with him or what the case was there. Gets around Elliott Sadler.
You're clear. Number 18 is still there.
Well, despite all the contact in this race and the rivals being made, there are still allies from prior races for the 16 of Biffle. Tony Stewart, one of them right here, and Stewart's still trying to pull on the block. Oh, and Stewart overruns turn 1 into the wall. Going to force him to 16 high in the center of the corner, accidentally. Oh, and then Biffle just overran the corner right back into Tony Stewart. I guess Stewart's not an ally anymore. See, the 16 is starting to get a little more looser over the course of a run as well. Now he puts Stewart another lap down. Trying to gun it by the 37 there of David Green. We got a lot of rivals all of a sudden right around Biffle. Trying to take care of the right side of the race car. And the Newman have been going at it a couple times already too. A little bump, a little run down to the inside. Hasn't cleared the 12 yet. Big contact. Slides it into the corner. Actually clears Jeff Gordon in the process. Biffle could probably see a caution right about now.
Number 17 is outside. The 17 longs all over your back bumper. Okay, work there. All right. Gotta keep him behind you. The 8 car is putting a lock on you.
Oh, Dale Jr.'s upset.
Number 8 is up.
Didn't really showcase it though. Biffle gets on by again. Underneath Kenny Wallace, trying to get away. Oh no! Wallace tried to run into Biffle and he ran right into the back of Hermie Sadler. Hermie Sadler, just the innocent bystander in it all, and you see that at Martinsville with retaliations as well. The innocent bystanders. They're just trying to stay out of other people's way, and saw it happen right there. And that right side of the race car for Greg Biffle really beat up. Biffle might have to pit under green here before long because just not sure exactly how much that right front's going to take. Once the pass cars along the outside, it's just so difficult in this game to do it. Really beat Robbie Gordon back to the gas there, who's being held up by Jeff Burton. Contact with Jerry Nadeau. The 0-1, there's Jamie McMurray. Not as upset with Greg Biffle. Biffle should be able to get around him to the inside, beats him back to the gas, clears him now down the back straightaway. I think if Biffle catches a huge group of rivals, he's either got to try to pass him around the outside as best as he possibly can, or he's going to have to bring it on to pit road at that point and just repair everything. I don't think you're going to see anybody pit. This could be a 2 pit stop race for everybody as well. That isn't Biffle, obviously, because Biffle's pitted under almost every caution. Pitted under 6 cautions so far today. Of the 8. It's got in the back of the 38. Jarrett gave Greg Biffle plenty of room there through 3 and 4. And caution for debris. Ninth caution of the race. That is the new record on NASCAR Thunder 2004. Just 10 races into the season. And now our ninth caution, most we have had in a single race this year. Kind of bails Biffle out. It's a piece off the right side of the race car. Not sure if that was the right front exactly again or not, but see if anybody else tries to come to pit road outside of the Biff. Looks like they're just going to try to take the wave around right now. My goodness. We are almost 2 hours into this race already. And we still got about 200 laps to go. A little mishap on the pit stop there for the rear tire changer, but it's not going to really matter. Biffle isn't racing anybody on pit road right now, so they can take their time, make sure everything gets adjusted, get all the lug nuts on the race car, and get back out on the track. So here we go.
We're starting in the back, so be careful and stay out of trouble.
Lap cars to the inside, lead lap cars to the outside, which is just Greg Biffle at this point. Green flag back in the air. Junior just turned Biffle, going right back to green before we even got into turn one. They weren't even 100 feet past the start-finish line, and Dale Jr. just wiped out Greg Biffle. Biffle's not going to pit under that yellow. And you see as they run now, by 1 point, Ryan Newman is taking over the points lead. And Newman now to the inside of Biffle. Green flag back in the air. And another yellow as now Ryan Newman wipes out Greg Biffle. Can't even get into turn one, and a lot of the field piled in that time, unlike the prior yellow. This is insane. As they cross the line, there was 200 laps to go as well. Just a wreck fest of a day. Biffle's going to have to bring it onto pit road and repair that right front. After two straight yellows, he tried to stay out after the first one. Junior wiped him out. And then Newman wiped him out. 11 cautions now. With less than 200 to go at Martinsville. There was just nothing Biffle could do there. Especially restarting on the outside all by himself. But that time, a decent amount of cars with damage out of that. Kind of piled in behind. Sterling Marlin looked like he got a big piece of it.
Nobody else decided to come in.
22 cautions in the 2005 Coke 600 is the most cautions in a single NASCAR race. Junior Newman back on the lead lap and in front of Biffle on the restart. After wiping him out, a dirty way to get back on the lead lap and take the lead. I don't think Biffle's too happy with either one of them right now. But how's he going to get back around him and take care of his race car? Little bump there, trying to squeeze to the inside. Newman with another shot. Almost wiped Biffle out again going into turn one. Oh, man, Biffle. Extra contact once again. Dale Jr. has the lead for the moment. Biffle trying to get in there. Back to the inside of Dale Jr. Biffle leads the lap at the line. Matt Kenseth, Biffle's teammate, kind of holding up Junior a little bit there. Biffle holds clear into turn one and gets to the lead that time. We'll alternate through the different camera angles for the first time today. So we have made it over 300 laps despite the 11 caution flags. 3 of them in the last 15 laps. It's 2 yellows as soon as we went back to green. Biffle does have fresher tires than both Ryan Newman and Dale Jr., so he'll try to pull back away from them as much as possible. Biffle's just catching these guys so quickly on these fresh tires, and there's rivals lined up at the rear of the field again. Biffle's going to save a little bit of time this time, try to maybe stretch this green flag run out a little bit longer. And he's just going to stay right behind. Oh, I guess he can't. Biffle downshifting in the corners here. See that at Martinsville. Sometimes guys like to downshift to third gear. More contact to the outside of Biffle with Jack Sprague. Oh, ran it in deep there on Kenny Wallace. Wallace rubs right back into him. Oh, another shot from Ken Schrader. Can't even see it coming this time, but you could feel it. Again, riding the in-car cam. Biffle just tries to make his way through the lap traffic. Loose on corner exit that time as he drives underneath Terry Labonte cleanly. We don't go to Martinsville again until the very end of the season. I believe the second or third to last race we go back to Martinsville. So if it is a tight points battle into the final couple races of the season, this could be a deciding factor in the championship race. Oh, man. Jimmy Johnson, Mark Martin checked up a lot more than Biffle anticipated going into the corner. Great drive through 1 or 2. That time he gets around Martin and Johnson. Biffle losing control on the brakes into turn 3 that time. We've not really seen that a whole lot today, but guess it's kind of becoming more of a norm as this race carries forward. Go back to the normal camera here, the far chase cam for now. Little ally there of Rusty Wallace. Tried to block Biffle on the outside. Takes a swing at him down on the bottom.
Number 21 is gaining on you. All clear, buddy.
Quickly on the fresh tires, working his way through the field, and Ryan Newman, Dale Jr. not too much further ahead of him.
Hard side. Number 12 is going for the block. The 18 car is still there. Careful. Okay, we're clear. He might try to rattle your cage. The 12 car is outside.
Newman back to being 1 lap down again. Dale Jr.'s even pulled away from Ryan Newman a little bit. Jr.'s still in the lead lap yet in 2nd place. Jeff Gordon 3 laps down in 5th. Harvick at 4th, 3 laps down as well. Pretty much kind of a 3-horse race right now between Biffle, Newman, and Jr. The more the cautions fly, the more they're still going to be in this thing. Well, Page has already wiped out Biffle today. Ryan Newman's wiped out Greg Biffle. And Dale Jr. has wiped out Greg Biffle. All bringing out cautions of their own, and Mike Skinner trying to do it there. He just about did. Biffle just trying to catch his car into turn 1. Skinner got right back around him. Tried to take another swing, thought better of it. And more caution for debris. 12th of the race. At lap 3:27, we have our 12th caution flag of the race. Yes, this is just a junkyard. And that actually saved Junior because he was still on the lead lap. Biffle didn't quite put him a lap down there. Newman should get the wave around if he chooses to stay out here. We'll see if anybody else might come to pit road this time. I don't believe anybody else came to pit road. So we set a personal record for NASCAR Thunder 2004. We have not had more than 13 caution flags in a single race on the channel ever, no matter what game it is. This game, NASCAR Heat 5, NASCAR Heat 4, we have not seen more than that. I mean, I'd be surprised if we didn't get 2 more cautions in this race at this point to break that record.
We're starting in the back, so be careful and stay out
So
of
Dale Jr. will have the lead on the restart. Ryan Newman on the lead lap, but he's lined up barely in front of the race leaders of Junior and Biffle. Green flag back in the air again. Junior quickly, I should say Junior's still stuck on the top here. Biffle trying to take advantage of it to the bottom and takes the lead away. Biffle got to the bottom so quickly, and Ryan Newman just trying to run him down the racetrack again. Jeff Gordon trying to drive away. That 4th position just ahead of Matt Kenseth. Biffle slides right around Gordon and has now free room to roam. We've had enough cautions in this race too. Those guys have been able to save their fuel and tires under the yellows by staying out, and it has made it only a 2 pit stop race for everybody else all of a sudden today. And we have another engine failure down on the bottom of the racetrack. Bobby Labonte, unfortunately, his day is going to come to an end. Not the first engine he has blown this season either, unfortunately. David Green. Oh man, Biffle overrunning turn 1. I got clipped by Kevin LePage.
number 02, down low. Take it easy out there. The 02 car is outside. Number 23 is attempting a box.
This is insane. That 16 car just did not turn going into turn 1. Ran up into Christian Fittipaldi.
He's taking it easy on you. Is anyone else you can block? Got one outside.
That's probably going to be the story going into the Pepsi 400 is the amount of rivals that will be there, and knowing a super speedway restrictor plate track will be next.
You're clear.
Might have the big one, unfortunately.
38 is blowing the block on you. Let's try to race a little.
We did not have the big one
Keep an eye on your rear. He's not too
in a super speedway race this year, both in the Daytona 500 and the Aaron's 499 at Talladega. We've already had this season. We had 2 accidents at Talladega, but none of them were the big one necessarily. Daytona 500, we went caution-free. With this many rivals we saw with Christian Fittipaldi, he was the only rival going into Talladega. Tried to wipe out Biffle a couple times. One of which was at the very beginning of the race. And obviously everybody was still clustered together a couple laps in when it happened.
hard side. Number 9 is coming low. Clear on both sides. Hard side.
So hard to get off of other drivers too when they check up. Got pit stop. Oh no! Biffle overruns turn 1, and that is going to do it. All the damage occurred throughout the course of the race
Saw a lot of yellow flags.
has finally done him in
Would have rather seen more green flag laps, especially the guys who ran out
with almost 100 laps to go.
Greg Biffle probably isn't too happy about his finish here.
I hate it for those guys too. They were so positive about their chances to win this morning, but then they just
Got wiped out 3 times today.
Greg Biffle had a run-in during the race with Ryan
It just
Newman.
kept getting roughed up throughout the course of the race, and it was the left front that actually did him in and not the right front, believe it or not.
Thanks for
Just overdrove turn 1, just got into the inside wall, and
We'll see you next time.
that was unfortunately enough to end it. A lot of rivals made after today's race. Dale Earnhardt Jr. will go on to win, and he was the only driver to finish on the lead lap today, as we'll take you through the finishing results in this race. First, we'll actually take a look at the DNFs here today, kind of different only because we DNF'd and we led a lot of laps. 311 laps led by Biffle. He led the most laps today, so he got 10 bonus points. But a 40th place finish. Not deserving of how fast the car was, but it was a mixture of him getting roughed up by other drivers and him just not being able to stay off of other drivers unintentionally. But I think getting wiped out 3 times definitely helped do him in by the end of the day. So the only DNFs in this race were the 4 you see on the bottom of the leaderboard. Kyle Petty, Kurt Busch, Ricky Craven, and Greg Biffle all DNF'd. And again, Biffle led the most laps in this race today as well. Kyle Petty did not lead 2 laps, but I credit him with 2 laps led. David Green obviously did not lead any laps either, so I'm not sure exactly where that came from. I don't think Kenny Wallace led anything. See, that's the thing. When it DNFs, it kind of randomizes the laps led and the running order. If you specifically DNF in this game, these DNFs are just doing Biffle in. 4 of them in the first 10 races. It's been that kind of a season, a lot of ups and downs. But again, Dale Jr. goes on to win the race. 13 cautions, 41 laps under caution, 3 hours, 27 minutes total time on the race today, 20 lead changes. And Dale Jr. with a 1-lap margin of victory there, lapped the field by the end of the race. So Jr. with the win, Ryan Newman second, Jeff Gordon in third, followed by Matt Kenseth. Jeff Green rounds out the top 5. Ricky Rudd finished 6th, followed by Kevin Harvick, Sterling Marlin, Rusty Wallace, and Tony Stewart round out the top 10. And bonus points obviously going towards Dale Jr. Dale Jr. getting his first win of the season today at Martinsville. Ryan Newman, who came in second in points, gets some bonus points. Ricky Rudd led the first 16 laps of the race, getting bonus points there. Jeff Gordon also in the top 5 in the point standings, getting bonus points today. After a DNF yesterday, that is huge for Gordon to get those bonus points and also come up with a third-place finish. So we'll take you through the point standings rather before we carry things forward. No NASCAR Heat 5 stream tonight. We made it well past the halfway mark, so that is going to do it for the live streams tonight. We'll be back at it with NASCAR Thunder 2004 tomorrow. Pepsi 400 at Daytona will be the next full race live stream. Coverage begins at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And here is the point standing. So with that win, Dale Jr. will take over the points lead all of a sudden. And look at how narrow that is. A 1-point lead over Newman. 2 points over Ricky Rudd. Stewart within a race. Kevin Harvick in 5th place in points within a race. Moving into the top 5 after that top 10 performance. Dale Jarrett within 1 race. And Greg Biffle drops from 5th to 7th in the point standings and now is just over 1 race out of the lead. So the top 6 drivers still within 1 race of the points lead. Man, what a tough break. Tough break today for Greg Biffle despite leading the most laps. Kind of similar to what might have happened at Texas, but this one, he ended the day himself. Obviously, the damage occurring up to that point definitely didn't help, but it wasn't like Texas earlier this year where he got wiped out at the end of the race. In the latter portion of the race, he kind of wiped himself out at the end of the day, despite getting wiped out multiple times leading up to that. See Matt Kenseth 8th in points, 9th. Look there. Dale Jr. wins for the first time this year. Now becomes the 6th different winner in the first 10 races of the season. We go to one of his best tracks, Daytona International Speedway. So again, the Pepsi 400 tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that will do it for today. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the race, the commentary, the video in general. It was a wild one at Martinsville, to say the least. Set a record on NASCAR Thunder 2004 for the most cautions, 13 of them here today. Tied a record for the channel, no matter what NASCAR game it is, for the most cautions with 13 for 41 caution laps. Unfortunately, we couldn't make it to the end. Better luck tomorrow in the Pepsi 400. Realistic broadcast, of course, going on with that with the full race live stream. So hope to see you guys then. We do these on the daily, so subscribe for more daily NASCAR content as I continue the young road to my broadcasting career. So help me out there by simply just subscribing. Thanks, everybody. Have a good rest of your night, and I'll catch you tomorrow.